it was coming from. She pressed her lips together, but her lungs demanded more air. Red rimmed her vision as dizziness enveloped her. Opening her mouth, she kept her breaths shallow, hoping, praying her ragged gasps weren't as loud as they sounded echoing in her own ears. Minutes passed. Nothing happened. Maybe he'd gone in the other direction. Her breathing eased. Her legs began to tremble from the cramped position. She'd partied in the clearing countless times, but everything looked the same in the dark. She'd lost track of her location. She glanced around the trunk. 20 feet ahead, moonlight cast a trail in silvery shadows. Was that the path that led to the main road? Beyond the narrow break in the foliage, the trees closed in, and darkness smothered the forest. Sweat ran down her spine and pooled at her lower back, soaking the waistband of her jeans. She squinted. What choice did she have? She couldn't stay here long. He'd catch up with her. He'd kill her. But in order to run, she'd have to come out from behind the tree. Where was he? No matter. She had to keep moving. If he hadn't caught her yet, he soon would. There was no way he'd let her go now. Why had she trusted him? Because he'd said he loved her? Stupid. He wasn't capable of love. She'd known it in her head, but her heart had wanted to believe. And now the truth would kill her. At the beginning of the evening, she'd considered walking into the cold lake and putting an end to her misery. But now that death was breathing down her neck, terror had taken over. Her survival instinct overrode any fears about her future. I don't want to die. Her last words to her grandparents had been angry. She'd lied to them. If she didn't make it out of this, that argument would be their final memory of her. They weren't perfect, but they loved her. Now there'd be no way for her to say she loved them back, that she hadn't meant what she'd said, that she'd been upset about the mess she'd made of her life and she'd lashed out at them. She wouldn't have a chance to say she was sorry. She had to get away. She had to live, to apologize for hurting the two people who loved her the most. She pushed to her feet. Her thigh muscles shivered and her head swam. Instead of running all out, she picked her way to the trail. With no idea where he was, the less noise she made, the better. If she didn't know where she was, maybe he didn't either. Underbrush snatched at her bare legs as she stepped onto the path and eased into a slow jog. The packed dirt under her sneakers felt familiar. She rounded a bend and quickened her pace. A twig snapped, and she bolted like a rabbit. A cloud drifted in front of the moon, dropping a shadow across her path. Tessa's foot caught, and she fell. Pain zinged through her kneecap as it struck an exposed tree root. On hands and knees, she paused, catching her breath and swallowing the terror that clogged her throat. Tears ran down her cheeks. Keep going. She got one foot under her body and stood, forcing her shaky legs to move. She stumbled up the path and drew up short as she recognized the scorched tree. She'd run in a circle. She stumbled as she realized she was headed back toward the clearing, toward him. The rustle of dead leaves echoed, loud as a crack of thunder. Please, please don't let him catch me. Tears blurred her vision. Swiping a hand across her face, she cleared her eyes, then broke into a weak run. A shadow stepped out from behind a fat tree. She skidded to a stop, the worn soles of her canvas high tops sliding in the dirt. Her bones trembled as she stared up at him. He wasn't panting or sweating or the slightest bit out of breath. And she knew. The truth struck her like an open hand against her cheek. She was going to die. Panic wrapped around her neck and tightened its grip until breathing was as hard as sucking air through a straw.
Did you really think you could get away?
He shook his head. She turned and ran, blindly shoving at the branches in her way. She couldn't outrun him. She was tired and he was fresh. Her breaths dragged in and out.